A lot of people say that you shouldn't start a company with anyone other than your best friend or someone that you've worked with in the past. But if you were in my shoes and everyone you worked with is in big, sleepy Google, you kind of have to take a risk on somebody.
I had never actually thought about starting a company. It wasn't until I met Max and he and I did the April Fool's project on Google Maps.
So I signed up as a product manager and she signed up as the engineering lead. And so we worked together for 4 months, and that taught us that we worked really well together and that we had a lot of complementary skill sets.
And he's like, do you want to start a company with me? You'd make a great CTO pair with me. I was like, Max, I love it. At Google, I just got promoted. I just hired 7 people on the team. I wasn't ready to leave, but I was interested in what he was building.
But I was persistent. And so I came back every few weeks and I said, Karina, do you want to leave to start a company with me? And she said, nope. And then I think on the 6th or 7th ask, she said, okay, I'm excited about this. You've been trying to convince me for a long time. Let's do it.
I was like, all right, Max, what is your idea for the company? And he's like, well, Karina, that's part of the fun of it. You get to come up with it with me.
And so we left Google around the same time. Even though Karina was an engineer, she had sort of scaled infrastructure experience at Google. We knew we needed kind of a scrappy co-founder who could do our MVPs and get things going and was a little bit outside the box. So we joined this accelerator program here in San Francisco called On Deck. And in that cohort, they hosted a hackathon. Karina and I said, this is where we're going to find our fellow co-founder. And that's where we met Alan.
So I used to be in finance, was on the trading floor, and it was a really fun job, but I can kind of see where the world was going. So I switched over to tech. I picked up programming. I joined this company called X.AI, not Twitter, but X.AI, which was an email scheduling agent that helped you schedule your meetings. And then my friend called me up and was like, hey, do you want to work at this restaurant? So I figured, restaurants are really cool. And we ran this Vietnamese pho restaurant in Dallas, Texas. I lived in his 1-bedroom apartment on the floor. He had a dog, he had a wife. And then I basically realized that restaurants don't really make any money outside the POS system. And then I found this program called On Deck. And at the hackathon, there are a bunch of groups, there are a bunch of teams, a bunch of tables. I just went to get some water, came back, and then Max pitched me, do you have a group? And I said no. He's like, all right, you're gonna join my group. And he pitched me on this idea called Control Life, where the viewers can control what the streamer does next. It was a really cool experience. We found that we really enjoy working together. We're both very ambitious. We're fast moving, fast paced. We want to make stuff happen. And we ended up winning the On Deck hackathon for that session.
Had a lot of conversations on would the 3 of us be a good fit to start the company? And it was just kind of a let's just take a risk together kind of situation. I wouldn't necessarily advise that to everybody. And I think you have to be really careful on what kind of co-founders you choose. But yeah, 6 years later, Alan, Karina, and I are best friends, and we've been through a lot of ups and downs. And over the years, we've accomplished a lot. We've lost a lot. We've hired and fired over 100 people. Well, we've raised 20 million, burnt 10 plus. We're well on our way. So always fun to look back at the origin story of how we all came together.